Welcome, I'm Michael Williams, and for decades, as a historian, economist, and specialist in resiliency studies, I've tracked the patterns of human survival across crises, from Roman collapses to the Great Depression. We stand today at a curious historical juncture. Our lives are utterly dependent on a delicate, invisible infrastructure, the electrical grid. It powers our homes, runs our finance systems, purifies our water, and most critically feeds us by keeping the entire modern food supply chain refrigerated and running. When that grid fails, it's not just the lights that go out. The entire modern contract of convenience is nullified, and the clock starts ticking. The reality is this: the United States power grid, that sprawling, complex machine spanning 3 major interconnects, is shockingly fragile, subject to everything from geomagnetic storms and sophisticated cyber attacks to the simple brute force failure of irreplaceable custom-built large power transformers (LPTs). We import roughly 80% of these LPTs, and lead times for replacements are now measured in years, not months. A month-long blackout is not a fantasy. It is a mathematical vulnerability that has been documented repeatedly by the North American Electric Reliability Corporation and the Department of Energy. It is a moment where the supermarket's promise of perpetual bounty vanishes, leaving a void that must be filled by foresight and action. This video is not about fear. It's about stewardship, the enduring American principle that a family's security is its own responsibility. We're going to look into the pantry of history to identify 15 essential foods that survive any blackout, even one stretching to 30 days or more. These aren't just calories, they are time-tested lifelines. Please stick with me until the very end of this film, as we will fully and deeply unpack the necessary historical context and practical applications required to understand true household resilience. In the meantime, tell me in the comments below, where are you watching this from right now, your city and country? The first great lesson of crisis history is that food is the only currency that matters when conventional money has lost its function. A gold bar won't feed a hungry child, but a handful of dried beans will. Our mission is to build a modern-day survival larder that honors the criteria forged by centuries of scarcity, caloric density, micronutrient insurance, and long-term ambient temperature stability. We begin with the absolute foundation, the core caloric fuel that has sustained more civilizations than any other food. The first essential item is white rice. Now, I can hear the nutritionists arguing, but this is a history lesson, not a diet plan. White rice, specifically, has been milled, removing the bran and the germ. This might reduce its immediate nutritional profile compared to brown rice, but it has a crucial, life-saving advantage: longevity. The removal of those oily components dramatically slows down rancidity, meaning that when properly stored in airtight containers, ideally with oxygen absorbers, at a constant temperature, polished rice can remain safe, edible, and calorically potent for up to 30 years. A 2018 study from Brigham Young University, testing polished rice samples stored for 3 decades, confirmed its remarkable stability. It's a pure, dense source of carbohydrates, and in a crisis, simple fuel for the body is the first priority. Historically, grains have been the backbone of every society's strategic reserve, and in the modern pantry, white rice is the most affordable, highest return investment you can make in caloric security. Next, we turn to the protein and fiber backbone of the American diet, especially during times of privation: dried beans and legumes. Think of the Three Sisters agriculture of indigenous American peoples: corn, squash, and beans, a system designed for both sustainable farming and long-term storage. Beans are a historical hedge against economic volatility. They were a staple through the American Civil War and the Great Depression, providing high-quality plant-based protein, iron, and crucial fiber when meat was scarce or unattainable. They are an economic power tool. Even today, you can store months of essential protein for mere pennies per serving. Varieties like pinto, black, kidney, and navy beans, when stored correctly in cool, dry conditions, will easily last a decade or more. While cooking them requires more water and fuel than rice, the nutritional payoff, especially when combined with rice to form a complete protein, is non-negotiable for long-term physical strength. Our third bedrock food addresses the need for essential fats and concentrated energy, which is critical for physical labor and maintaining body temperature during a power outage, particularly in winter. That food is peanut butter. This American staple, popularized in the late 19th and early 20th centuries, is far more than a sandwich spread. A single tablespoon can deliver nearly 100 calories and a wealth of heart-healthy fats, making it one of the densest, most convenient sources of energy you can store. We are not talking about natural peanut butter that separates quickly. We are focusing on the stabilized varieties that, unopened and stored in a pantry, can maintain quality for many months past their best-by date. The key is the high-fat content, which acts as a dense fuel source, a crucial resource when foraging for energy-rich foods is impossible. Following this, we look to the rugged endurance of the early American settler and the soldier's ration, which leads us to oats. Specifically, rolled or steel-cut oats. Unlike quick-cook cereals, these less processed varieties boast a phenomenal shelf life and superior nutritional value. The Scottish immigrants brought this grain tradition to the American colonies, and oats quickly became a foundational part of the colonial diet, often consumed as a gruel or porridge. They provide a slow-burning carbohydrate that releases energy steadily, preventing the insulin spikes that crash energy levels, a disaster scenario when mental clarity is paramount. They require minimal cooking. Just a boil of water and a generous stock of oats ensures a warm, filling, and nutritionally substantive meal for breakfast or dinner, supporting the steady energy needed for crisis management. The fifth food is less about bulk and more about preservation and historical reliability. Honey. Honey is perhaps the greatest food preservative known to history. Archaeologists have recovered perfectly edible honey from Egyptian tombs dating back thousands of years. Its unique properties, low water content, high acidity, and the presence of hydrogen peroxide create an environment hostile to microbial life. For our purposes, honey is a threefold resource: a concentrated source of pure calories for energy, a natural preservative for other foods, and, drawing from historical leechcraft and traditional cures, it possesses documented antimicrobial and wound-healing properties. In a world without modern medicine or refrigeration, a long-term supply of honey is liquid gold, a hedge against both starvation and infection. The next necessity addresses a key nutritional gap in a grain-heavy diet: shelf-stable milk. The invention of ultra-high-temperature UHT processing in the mid-20th century solved the problem of dairy preservation. For extended periods, tea milk, sealed in aseptic cartons, is subjected to temperatures of over 280 degrees Fahrenheit for a few seconds, rendering it nearly sterile. This process, when combined with light-proof airtight packaging, allows milk to sit on a shelf, unrefrigerated, for 6 months or more until it is opened. Powdered milk is another viable option, having sustained American military and relief efforts for over a century. But UHT provides instant, palatable liquid dairy for children and adults who rely on its protein, calcium, and vitamin D. A crisis diet should not force a complete surrender of essential nutrients, and UHT milk is the modern answer to that enduring challenge. We now turn to the most straightforward source of long-term animal protein: canned meats and fish. The history of canning is tied directly to military necessity, beginning with the French government's search for a way to feed Napoleon's armies in the early 1800s. Since then, canned goods have provided the critical protein density required for survival during wars, depressions, and natural disasters. Items like canned tuna, salmon, chicken, and especially ham, spam, or similar cured products provide high-density protein and essential omega-3 fatty acids, which are vital for mental clarity and cognitive function under stress, a factor often overlooked in survival planning. The airtight, hermetically sealed nature of the can, particularly the modern sanitary can with its double seam, ensures a shelf life often measured in years, far exceeding the label date, provided the can remains undamaged. They are a ready-to-eat solution, requiring no cooking fuel, which is a major logistical advantage in a true blackout scenario. Finally, for the initial 8 foundational foods, we consider the necessity of fiber, vitamins, and a crucial morale boost: dried fruit. From the Mesopotamians sun-drying dates in 1700 BC to American settlers making fruit leathers, dehydration is one of humanity's oldest and most reliable preservation methods. Dried fruits like raisins, apricots, and prunes offer concentrated calories from natural sugars and, crucially, fiber to maintain digestive health, a common casualty in high-stress, limited diet situations. They are also packed with vitamins and antioxidants that, while diminished slightly by the drying process, still provide a necessary micronutrient bridge. A handful of raisins is not just energy, it is a profound psychological comfort, a break from the monotony of a survival diet. When stored in sealed containers, their low water activity makes them incredibly stable for years. These 8 foods, beans, peanut butter, oats, honey, shelf-stable milk, canned meats, and dried fruit form the bedrock of a resilient pantry, providing the necessary caloric bulk and foundational protein for 30 days or more. But here is the historian's warning: relying solely on these, no matter how carefully stored, will eventually lead to a gradual decline in health due to micronutrient deficiencies and a dangerous erosion of morale. Surviving a crisis is not just about keeping the heart beating, it's about maintaining the mental edge and physical vigor required to manage the crisis. The final 7 foods, which we will explore in the next half of our discussion, are not just additions, they are the strategic micronutrient hedge that allows you to move beyond mere survival to actively thrive and sustain competence when the world around you is failing. The transition from mere caloric survival to genuine resilience, the ability to not just endure, but to function effectively for a month or more without the modern supply chain, requires a shift in focus. We must move from bulk carbohydrates and proteins to the strategic inclusion of micronutrients, preservation agents, and, crucially, the foods that sustain mental health and routine. This brings us to the ken, or the twist. In our narrative, the silent killer in a long-term crisis is not immediate starvation, but the slow, insidious failure of the body's support systems due to lack of essential vitamins and minerals. compounded by psychological fatigue. History is littered with examples of communities surviving on a narrow diet only to succumb to debilitating diseases like scurvy or beriberi, which undermine the strength needed to rebuild or manage a crisis. The final 7 foods are the hedge against this hidden failure. Our 9th essential food is fat, but not the processed kind, coconut oil or lard. While we listed peanut butter for immediate energy, a true specialist's pantry needs a stable, long-term cooking and energy fat. Lard rendered from pork fat was the staple cooking medium for centuries of American homesteaders, valued for its high smoke point and phenomenal stability when properly rendered and sealed. Similarly, coconut oil, particularly the refined, highly saturated variety, is extremely stable. High saturation means fewer double bonds in the fatty acid chains, making it significantly less prone to oxidative rancidity than common vegetable oils like corn or canola. Studies confirm that its high saturated fat content allows it to remain stable and edible for 5 years or more unopened, storing vital energy without refrigeration. This fat is not merely fuel for the stove. It is the densest caloric fuel for the brain and body, essential for maintaining body temperature and powering physical labor when the grid is down. Moving to preservation and gut health, the 10th item is an ancient remedy that connects directly to the principles of traditional cures and the homestead economy: vinegar. Specifically, apple cider vinegar. Traced back to Babylonia around 5000 BC and used by Hippocrates to manage wounds. Vinegar is fundamentally a dilute acetic acid solution. It is a Dulius master. In a crisis, its primary utility is preservation, pickling vegetables harvested before the winter or fall of the grid. Secondarily, drawing upon its long history in leechcraft and folk medicine, it acts as a mild antimicrobial agent for surfaces and can aid in digestion. Its stability is near infinite. Sealed vinegar does not spoil. The simple act of pickling extends the shelf life of highly perishable foods like garden produce from weeks to months, turning a temporary bounty into a long-term resource. Our 11th and 12th choices are less about pure calories and more about morale and cognitive function. The psychological foods, instant coffee and tea bags. In a protracted crisis, the simple act of maintaining a routine, a morning cup, provides an anchor of normalcy. Caffeine is the world's most widely consumed psychoactive substance, proven in numerous studies to enhance alertness, elevate mood, and postpone fatigue, all critical functions when facing high-stress decision-making with inadequate sleep. Furthermore, tea, particularly green tea, contains L-theanine, an amino acid that promotes relaxation and focus. These simple, lightweight items are a low-cost, high-return investment in maintaining the human capital, the alertness, sanity, and positive emotional state that prevents errors in judgment during a critical period. We are not just stocking food, we are stockpiling competence. Before we move to the final, and perhaps most vital, 3 foods, I have a request for you. If you are finding this historical and practical information valuable for your own family's planning, please take a moment to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel for more deep dive content, and activate the notification bell. Also, let me know in the comments where you are watching from, your city and country, as your engagement helps us bring this vital knowledge to more people. The final 3 foods represent the distillation of survival knowledge, addressing core chemical and structural needs often ignored by amateur preppers. Our 13th item is iodized salt, the history of American iodine deficiency, particularly in the Goiter Belt regions of the Great Lakes and Appalachians prior to the 1920s, is a stark reminder of the long-term dangers of a deficient diet. Iodine is absolutely essential for the synthesis of thyroid hormones, which govern metabolism, energy, and, most critically, brain development. Without it, physical and mental function degrades, leading to chronic fatigue, depression, and eventually irreversible cognitive impairment. Salt, the ancient currency and preservative, is the perfect vehicle. A properly sealed container of iodized salt provides this essential micronutrient virtually indefinitely and serves as the only practical means of bulk food. Preservation: curing meats, making brine without electricity. You must ensure your salt is iodized. It is a non-negotiable insurance policy against a devastating health crisis. The 14th food is a powerful symbol of self-reliance and historical endurance: whole wheat flour and its byproduct hut. While general-purpose flour has a limited shelf life, whole wheat flour, when properly vacuum-sealed or stored in bulk, provides a more complete nutritional profile than white flour, retaining more fiber and B vitamins. More importantly, it is the raw material for hardtack, the Civil War soldier's staple. Hardtack is a simple biscuit of flour, water, and sometimes salt, baked multiple times to remove virtually all moisture. It is a food designed purely for longevity, known to last for decades. Famously described by Civil War soldiers as indestructible, it requires effort to make edible again, often soaked in coffee or pounded. But it is the ultimate expression of a stable, dense, inexpensive carbohydrate reserve that has literally fueled the growth of the American nation through its darkest times. Its storage stability is a testament to the power of dehydration as a preservation method. Finally, the 15th item is not a food in the traditional sense, but a nutrient insurance policy: multivitamins and supplements. Even with the most conscientious selection of long-term storage foods, no prepackaged survival diet perfectly mimics the complexity of a varied diet. In a month-long reliance on stored goods, you will encounter nutrient gaps. A substantial stock of high-quality multivitamins, along with targeted supplements like vitamin C to prevent scurvy and vitamin D to counter lack of sun exposure during a crisis, provides the chemical scaffolding necessary to keep the body's metabolic processes running optimally. This is a critical investment in maintaining peak physical and cognitive function, allowing the mind to remain sharp and the body robust enough to deal with the challenges of a grid-down environment. It is the modern refinement of historical knowledge, leveraging pharmaceutical science to bolster traditional food supplies. In closing, we have surveyed the essentials, not as items on a grocery list, but as an integrated system of resilience, designed to cover the trinity of survival needs: calories for energy, protein for strength, and micronutrients for competence. From the 30-year shelf life of white rice to the psychological strength provided by coffee and the historical security of iodized salt, these 15 foods transform a pantry from a temporary storage space into a fortress of self-reliance. The real value of this preparation is the profound sense of stewardship. It instills the knowledge that you have taken prudent, proactive steps to protect your family from the known vulnerabilities of our modern infrastructure. The power grid may be fragile, the supply chains may be thin, and the economic future may be uncertain, but the enduring American spirit is found in the deliberate action of preparing for the worst, knowing that in doing so, you secure your best chance at peace, competence, and stability. This is not about succumbing to fear. It is about embracing the deep historical wisdom that teaches us that true independence is earned through foresight.